Hey, citizen of the future here. I hope everyone's doing fantastic. Welcome back. This is the fourth edition of the Lighthouse Report, and I'm super excited for what I put together for you guys to inspire citizens to dig in more of a regulated rabbit hole than a meme coin hype based, like most of crypto Twitter. And so, what I'm going to cover today is the new era, the paperless trade transformation part two. And the first edition of the Lighthouse Report, I did a big overview, of a helicopter overview of the trade finance and the supply chain, showing the problems. What are some of the solutions? So you can go and check that out. I did a recap here for the fourth edition. I thought it would be important to show what have I brought and provided these last couple reports. So the first one was that big overview. The second one was 10 important standard setting bodies and consortia that every citizen should be aware of. These are the ones that, right now, cryptocurrency markets are a shitcoin casino. There's 99% of them are garbage, have no real world utility, nothing but pump and dumps, hype driven investing. And so what this one is about is who is the top of the global monetary system? Who is the ones creating the standards? Who are the ones that are going to be enforcing these standards to bring the crypto markets to the same standards as the global monetary system? So this is a very important one that every citizen should be aware of. Some of these consortia's standards in here, and lots of good information. And then in the third edition, this one was about part two. This was on 5 more connections to the grid, so 5 more standard setting bodies that introduce you to what they are, what they're doing, and also a very, very important concept that not very many people are talking about, but it's one of the biggest things going on in the global monetary system. There was a digital economy agreement between Singapore and the UK. And this was implemented at the start of the year in 2022, and it's going to be going fully active around middle of 2023. Digital data flows. Everything that I'm talking about we're talking about the digitalization of the globe. And so that's the first 3. And then this fourth one is more of a part 2 of things happening in the paperless trade transformation. And just to give you some more basic insights, to give you guys a good start, and give you guys a quick verbal breakdown of just what I was writing about. So the one thing that mainstream media is not covering, and I can't say this enough, the transformation known as the fourth industrial revolution. Our current banking system is outdated. It relies on SWIFT. The bank wire transfers take 5 to 7 business days to settle. It costs $50 to do a transaction that you can't even track. It has Nostro and Vostro accounts, which are holding accounts that require the capital to be held until that transaction is settled. The system lacks liquidity. The system has a lot of errors. There's a 6% fail rate on cross-border transactions. And the biggest thing that I love focusing on, because this is my niche, is paper. Paper is a huge problem for the globe. It's slow, it's manual based, and it's time consuming. Things get lost, get damaged. And so that's why I'm bringing this awareness to any of you guys watching this, is to say, hey, so basically I'm just trying to show you that technology is kicking paper out of the system. There's a new digital document concept coming into play. So just a reminder, we are in the new era of Industry 4.0 technologies. So that's blockchain and distributed ledger technology, AI, machine learning, Internet of Things, industrial Internet of Things. There's so many different technologies that are playing a role, and these technologies are starting to converge, to work together to create even more automation and cost savings for businesses around the world. So this one is people don't realize the value of data. Data is everything for businesses. Data helps business owners understand their customers, customer behavior patterns, identify trends, and improve the quality of services they provide. So when you have data on paper, you can't utilize it as efficiently because paper requires somebody to manually move the data from an analog paper system to digital data, which then the technology can then use AI and machine learning to take all this big data and then clean it into the data that you need. So say you have, I'll get into that in a little bit. So the visual below that I put together was on these machine readable data points to show you the difference. So here we have on the left a piece of, say for example, a painting, paper data points. There is, the machines can't read this data points. And what's happening now is we have these digital document solutions that have a standardized format that takes whatever you enter in this form, it then separates it. AI, machine learning can then go through all the data points on that invoice, title transfer, bill of lading. It can take that and implement it into whatever AI feed that it needs to require to get the business data that you want. So that's just to show you, when you have digital documents, it gets every data point available and you have access to it. You can search it, you can do whatever with it. So problem with paper documents, this is just a refresher from the grid one. So instead of me retyping and rewording it, just go check it out. There's some good visualizations. It just talks about the manual paper processes in global industries. If you didn't know, there's 28.5 billion paper documents that move across the globe a year. 28.5 billion. Yes. And I did a math equation. If you stack all those paper documents on top of each other, it would equal to a pile stacked of the height of 39,500 statues of liberty tall. That's a lot of paper, that's a lot of time, and that's a lot of cost. And you got to think, paper requires storage and manual intervention. So, and then there was a fun fact in there that you'll see that just by using paper in global trade, it adds 20%. It accounts for 20% of all costs in global trade. And that's disgusting. So one day when we're at 100% of digital documents moving through global trade, our costs are going to be dropped by at least 20%. Another thing just to quickly mention is siloed systems across global entities and jurisdictions. We have a massive world. We have millions and millions of companies that all have different processes, different systems, different languages. So the trick right now is paper between all these intermediaries in trade is it's super fragmented. There's no common language. There's no common document. It's really broken. So the difference between paper versus digital documents. This is just a quick example from Enigo, which is a beautiful example. The benefits of paper. You can see the original versus the copy. You can see who owns the possession. You have transferability with paper. So when you hand that off to someone else, they now have ownership. Presentability, you can whip out your paper. Here it is. This is my documents. I own this. And you have data privacy. You don't have somebody snooping on you, etc., etc. And then their trace original solution, which I wrote about in the first edition of the grid, it matches all these characteristics and then some. It also has immutability. Since the document is settled on a blockchain, it's time stamped, it's immutable, so they can't change it. Once it's been transferred, you know who has it, you know exactly the life cycle of the digital document. And that's where the traceability comes in. And the fraud safe, you can't duplicate documents when it's on a blockchain. Huge. So this was just a breakdown of the digitalization of documents using DLT. As you can see, this is the Enigo solution that I talked about in edition 1. If you want to read and see all the visuals, go check that out. Now, here's a really cool one that I love showing my friends and family, is the visualization of digital document data points. Now, to show you the true value of digital documents, I created this below. And this was from BCG analysts for this example. And you'll have to click in on the report to see it clearly. But there's up to 5,000 data fields on transfer records. Now think, when this is in paper, you don't get it. You don't get any of this. You don't get to select, in paper trade, you don't get to go Control F and find what invoice number you're looking for, what company, what were they shipping between this dates, etc., etc. But with digital document data points, you get access to every piece of data on that document. You can search, company name, company date, the invoice date, bill of lading number, anything on this invoice you can search, control find, and then you can use machine learning and artificial intelligence to then sort through whatever information that you need to make your specific business decision, which is huge. I put this visualization together because I'm trying to inspire you citizens to get a side of the transformation that's not being spoke to mainstream media or by mainstream media. So current documents take 5 to 7 business days to settle in paper. You have couriers. This is completely manual, being shipped across the world from the buyers, sellers, and all the other intermediaries. But with a document transfer on an electronic bill of lading, using DLT, it takes a few seconds or minutes. These are some digital document providers that, through my research, I put together to show you guys that this concept is happening, and it's happening fast. So pay attention. We got CargoX, WaveBL, Fiata, SDocs, TradeFlow, China Systems, Enigo, which is built on XDC, which is a public distributed ledger technology that anyone can get into, not financial advice, BIMCO and Contour, TradeLens, LiquidX, Trade Assets. These are all different digital document providers built on distributed ledger technology. So these are just a list of type of documents used in global trade to give you guys just a visual. So, Seaway bills, bills of lading, promissory notes, which is an example that I get into later down in this article, bills of exchange, warehouse receipts, ship delivery orders, cargo insurance certificates, and marine insurance documents. All of this is in paper. That is the standard. So just talking about interoperability of smart contracts and paperless trade facilitation platforms, the industry's worry with blockchain and that is still fragmentation and lack of interoperability between platforms. This is an important concept. If you're going to get into this in a deeper level, you need to start thinking is, how are these ecosystems that I'm an investor in cryptocurrencies, how are these ecosystems going to move away from the fragmentation of the current system? How are they not going to be another digital silo? So does your ecosystem that you're investing in, does it have connections with traditional finance? Does it have connections with real world entities? Or is it going to be just a select few people are going to use it and then it's just going to die out one day? Once the hype is gone, there's no real world utility, liquidity dries up, and so does your money. So that's an important thing. Does it interoperate with the global monetary system in some way? And if it doesn't, then is it a good investment? So that's a question. Also, straight, full stop, the global industry will not just adopt one digital trade platform. The world's too big. There is too many different products being worked on by different companies, entities, chains, etc. It will never be a one crypto world. What else? So the key to success in this paperless trade facilitation revolution is interoperability. These platforms need to be able to speak with the other platforms. They need to interoperate. Documents are going to be able to move from, say, Inigio to Cargo X, from Cargo X to SDocs. So if you have different intermediaries in the supply chain, in the business value chain, they need to speak with other platforms, or it will become another digital island silo. And this is becoming possible through different standards and solutions. So just as a reminder, don't be a one single DLT network maximalist, because you're just shooting yourself in the foot. It's going to be a network of networks. And if you are going to say, oh, I'm only a Bitcoiner or Ethereum guy, that's me and that's it. Okay, that's you then. Keep it up. Smart contracts. This was just a quick breakdown about smart contracts and how they're how I see them as the digital contract of the future of trade. You know, smart contracts are being implemented into company workflows because of the automation and cost savings they provide. The traditional contracts require physical documentation, manual audits, financial reviews, etc., etc. The smart contracts do not. They're programmed with lines of computer code that use data from the blockchain to verify when the agreements have been met. And as soon as that has been met, the contract then executes. It's trustlessly. You can just rely on, hey, we both agreed to these terms. Once these terms are met, that's how it went forward. So just as a final breakdown, they're instant settling binding agreements. They're audible. They're automated, and they dissolve if the agreed upon conditions are not met. They evaporate. They're canceled. So when you set your requirements, if they're not met, you're A-okay. And then this also, puts a new level of trust in the global trade market, because right now, everyone's like, oh, should I share this data with this company? Is this going to bite me in the ass somehow? Data is very protected and very kept private. So, but now with these smart contracts, this digital data points, you can select exactly what information can be shared. So it's just needed and agreed upon. This is the visual I put together, how smart contracts work. You can read that. And then this was a snippet from an ING Wall Street Journal piece in 2017, and it was smart contracts in trade finance and commodities. And this is the perfect breakdown to show how it's useful. And you got to remember that these smart contracts can be attached to a QR code. So then when, say, you're moving from a shipper to a receiver, they scan the QR code, the title transfers over to the new person that's holding the cargo, and you can see exactly when that was timestamped, etc., etc. The last thing I want to point out for a recent example in this global paperless trade advancement is the Lloyds Bank. They completed the UK's first transaction utilizing a digital promissory note August 18th of this year. And this was a first for UK. Okay, so there it is. They complete the first digital payments first. So I have a full video that breaks down this. I'm not going to get too far into it because I'm already at 21 minutes. But basically, partnered with the ITFA's DNI Initiative, Digital Negotiable Instruments Initiative, which I cover in the first edition of the grid. They successfully completed the UK's first DPN, Digital Promissory Note, using Inigio's solution Trace Original for digital original documents. The transaction was initiated and completed within the day and involved the sale and purchase of land worth $48 million between several UK businesses. This is a major milestone for the DNI initiative and paperless trade in the UK. This is huge. Just think, last month's edition I covered the UK was starting this digital economy agreement. about digital trade flows between the countries of UK and Singapore. This is the first digital document to move in the UK for a digital promissory note. Some great snippets from Andre Casterman, a very smart trade finance pioneer. They're working on, so I'm not going to cover it, so you guys read that, and then you can see how important some of this verbiage is, and why isn't mainstream media covering this stuff? Why is it getting covered up? That's a true question. They cover COVID-19, the Ukrainian war. They cover negative stuff that keeps people in the past, but they don't cover the real stuff. Huh, interesting. And they said they're working on a series of pilots. This is from Lloyds Bank itself, to test the interoperability of digital documents across international borders. We will continue to develop innovative digital trade and working capital solutions to make it easier, quicker, safer, and more sustainable for UK businesses of all sizes to access cash and manage risk across supply chains, both domestically and internationally. This is the full video. It's a half an hour video, but I read through the whole thing and give my insights on that publication. So summary to finish this off, citizens. Sorry for the long one. I'm just trying to get my information that's in my head out there so other people, if they're inspired to learn, that they can. So you should understand that the first step of this digitalization transformation is the digitization of data. Moving data from paper, analog-based paper, to a digital data format. That's the first step to digitalization, is digitization. There's a difference, and you can Google it and you can see the difference. So digitization is the foundational process that transforms analog paper-based data to digital, like I just explained. And I hope this shows you guys that blockchain is much more than just hype-based cryptocurrency, meme coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dogecoin, because we are actually at the start of a new digital document era. And it gives shivers down my spine just thinking about how early we are, because we are at a 1% out of all the documents in the world. Only 1% is digital documents. 1%. One day that's going to be 30%. One day that's going to be 50%. One day that's going to be 90%. This is not a get-rich scheme. This is global monetary financial infrastructure, digitizing data points and the way things move and trade. This is like a 5 to 10 year process. So buckle up. It's going to be a ride. It's going to be long, and it's not good. We're going to see some things, but a new digital document era is upon us, and welcome. Let me be the first, if you weren't aware, to welcome you as a citizen of the future to be aware of this transformation taking place. Aside from the retail ecosystem, we are actually seeing real world adoption. Lloyds Bank, for example, and I've got a bunch more up my sleeve in these future editions of the grid to break down and show you guys. So to finish this off, I hope my content inspires you guys to abandon the crypto meme hype chase and start looking into the regulated side of blockchain and the DLT revolution. How does these ecosystems provide a real world utility to businesses, and why are they actually going to be used? Because if they don't have a utility, if they're not being used by regulated entities, when regulations come into play from these standard setting bodies that I've written about in the second and third editions, a mass exodus is going to happen in the blockchain and cryptocurrency ecosystems. If you don't have ties and you can't pass the standard that is set by them, your network's liquidity is going to be drained. Money's going to flow into ecosystems that have these real world connections. The smart money is going to abandon before the regulations come in play, and the dumb money is going to be stuck holding these worthless token bags that have no real world value. So citizens, I hope you got something from this. Stay tuned for the next edition where I provide some more in-depth advancements of the paperless trade transformation within the global monetary grid. And, if you guys got something from this report itself, writing all this, doing the research, piecing it together, it took me about 25 hours and then to edit and record this video. So I hope you guys leave some feedback. Let me know if you liked it, if you didn't like it, how I can improve. But if you get because I'm here to inspire others out of the good faith of my heart. It's not financial advice. That's it. Just trying to pay it forward, basically. So citizen of the future out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.